All right, I'm here in the FINIS offices with CEO John Mix. John, I use FINIS products all the time, and I've used the Stability Snorkel for a long time, but as you said earlier, I still see people using the older version of the snorkel. Could you take me through the differences between the older and the newer versions and what you think is better about the newer one?
Yeah, thanks for asking because it comes up quite a bit. This is, in fact, the original swimmer's snorkel, and we see a lot of people out there using it. And today, we like to tell people to use the Stability Snorkel. So we had a patent on the product. So for about 20 years, we were the only brand in the world providing a front mount snorkel. And as the patent expired, it seemed that most of the other brands also created something very, very similar because it works great. But I asked my team, I said, gosh, with 20 years of knowledge and feedback from customers, if you had a chance to do it all over again, what would you do? And the very first thing was, with this head bracket design that goes up and down on the tube, it does allow that when the swimmer is swimming, when you come off a wall, well, that tube can rotate, and some people call it the earthquake effect. When you're coming off your wall, you're getting that shaking instability. So David said, let's make the tube permanently attached to the head bracket. The other thing about the original snorkel is because of the head bracket design, you're always going to develop either temple pressure or point pressure. So over time, it becomes less comfortable than desired. So by putting a smaller pad permanently attached to the tube itself, you're distributing the pressure around the head more evenly, and you don't get the temple or point pressure. So it becomes very comfortable, again, because it's attached to the tube. You don't get the earthquake effect because it's attached to your head. Now, people would say, how would we accommodate for the different position that it would fit? The Stability Snorkel, we can adjust the mouthpiece up and down right here. Just a nice up and down set of gaskets. And what's also nice about this design is when you get to the wall, you can actually rotate the tube away from your mouth. So when I'm at the wall, I can have my drink of water, I can take a breath, I can rest, and when it's time to go, I simply, and off I go. Another thing to add about the Stability Snorkel is the original snorkel, we put a purge valve in it. And we put the purge valve in there because it was the first time we were introducing to the world, hey, wear a snorkel when you swim. And the scuba industry, they have a purge valve. Purge valve provides this function that when water gets in the tube and you exhale, some of that water is going to dispel out the purge valve and the rest is going to expel out the tube. But you also create turbulence in the tube. So the ease of breathing, the purge valve with that turbulence, some people don't get all the water out. Some people can lose a purge valve. A purge valve does get dirty with time, so you wash it like you'd wash a contact lens. So by changing the shape and eliminating that purge valve, that shape allows the centrifugal force of a flip turn to keep the water out of the tube. So the changes might look very subtle, but they're significant. And so even though the world still, I think they buy this out of knowledge. They've always used this. They don't know any better. But to the athletes that we work with and that most people that try this Stability, it's more comfortable. We even, we made a kid version and the kid version, it's noticeably smaller, but it's important that we understand that the volume of air that you're exchanging in and out of the tube is measured by science. I mean, you don't want to put a child under 12 in a tube this length because they might not dispel all the dead air out of the tube. And you could, it's not safe. You could have a shallow water blackout. But I would encourage everyone, if you're still using the original, try the Stability.
I mean, I'll tell you, I used both of these. I used the original one back in high school, and over time, like the plastic kind of started to warp, and like this latch right here eventually broke.
Yeah.
But I've had this exact same snorkel since 2019.
Yeah.
I've had the same one. I've used it for 6 years now, and it's still like in perfect working condition.
Yeah, you see it with swim team all the time. You know, the coaches might say, hey, let's put on our snorkel. And the snorkels are getting thrown up and thrown down on the pool deck. And this snorkel does have, it lends itself the opportunity to pop out a purge valve, break a head bracket. There's less options to have any breakable parts.
Yeah.
And only because we're on discussion of it. I think I want to make sure everyone stops and thinks about why are we using the snorkel? Because I've seen it often now too, is now that they're so popular, the coaches will say, let's put on your snorkel and we're doing this. But let's take a moment and tell them why they're wearing the snorkel. You know, we're wearing the snorkel so that we can possibly slow down our stroke, work on technique, possibly speed up our stroke. It's eliminating that head rotation so we can concentrate on getting the hips to the surface. There's so many benefits from the snorkel. Let's make sure we're sharing those tips with our swimmers instead of just telling them to put it on and go. Because you can still swim with bad body position and bad head position if you're not telling them to think about it.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome. Thank you so much, John.
All right. I appreciate it. Thank you.